It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose, and I just got a warning that Radio Zero is live on the radio. What? Friday, February 2nd.
You can subscribe podcast on Apple, Spotify. Go to radiozero.us. We're live streaming on Facebook, 5 p.m. every couple of Fridays. On Radio Zero page on Facebook, Poster Children page, live stream on Twitch at PCJCUSA, and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. You can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. Thank you to everyone who is supporting this podcast.
Yes, chef. Okay, there. Now I've got it. I've got both Radio Zero page and the Poster Children page. They're just ready to go. And now I think I need to get maybe I don't need my glasses.
I thought you just had them on.
No, these are your glasses. These are like your old glasses, and there's a scratch on them. And I don't know, like the reading glasses, like I like the progressive glasses. I really like mine, but they're too progressive on the bottom. Like they're like fish, and I need them to be a little more like less progressive. Like what would that be?
Less progressive than fish? I don't know. See, I can't remember the name. Hootie and the Blowfish?
Yeah, I need a little bit more Hootie.
Dave?
Let's see, Dave. God.
Whose name I can't actually
Cody
remember.
B says hello. Hey, Cody, how have you been?
What's Dave's last name?
Dave. Which Dave?
The
Letterman?
No, Jam Band Dave.
Oh,
Not Jam Band.
David Matthews.
Mr.
Mr. David Matthews.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'm beginning to like this senility.
Yeah, because you
it's
forgot
like
about
I'll
David
completely
Matthews.
forget about Dave Matthews. Yeah.
Mashups. Okay. All right. Good. Well, I just came from not being here. I walked all around the quad with one of our. We can say that we have candidates, right? We've all kinds of people visiting the university, and we're on our best behavior with them all. What was that? Did we just get a warning? Oh, it's Dow.
It's just a Death Stranding 2
update.
Vital update.
Yeah. So I was walking around and just running into people and just starting to think about how like ridiculous our whole, like everybody here is so nice. Like this can't, and I love where I work so much. I love it so much. I love all my colleagues so much. It's almost like what's the matter with you people? And I wonder if we're like, if it seems like what was that, the Stepford Wivesy, like the Stepford professors,
Like
to people who are visiting, like it's, oh my God, I love everybody here. Oh my God, like I everybody's so nice, And it's not like we're on our best behavior. We're just all really, really, really nice, and we just all really love it here, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Don't you think it seems weird? Like at some point, it's got to seem weird. Like what are they hiding? What are you doing?
I'm making a note.
Okay. Anyway, I was walking around, and then we ran into more music faculty, like the nicest music faculty, which is hard because all the music faculty are nice, but these guys are nice too. Ran into your friend who had the tables shirt. Yeah, he was so excited that you sent him a message. Like one of our colleagues is wearing that what Dan
Flash's shirt.
Dan Flash's shirt. I saw him in the area that, I don't even know what to call it, in the hall where we're all congregated all the time, right? Outside our offices. And I'm like, wow, what shirt is that? And he's like, it's a Dan Flasher shirt. Did you ever see, what's the TV show?
I Think You Should Leave.
I Think You Should Leave. And I was like, oh, that happened at our house. I remember that you guys went through the phase of I Think You Should Leave, and everybody was screaming, and I went, tables? And he was like, what?
He doesn't know that.
The table was like, it's the tables one, right? He was like, I don't know.
Oh.
And then he was talking about the shirt though, and I remember you guys made me watch that. And the fun thing about it, like it's a guy laying on a couch in a office room, and he's saying that he doesn't eat anymore. He just saves all his money because
His
the
per
shirts.
diems. He's not using his per diems
Yes.
for food. He's saving it so he could go to Dan Flash's to buy the very complicated shirts.
And
Yeah.
the shirts are really, really, really expensive, right? Did they
And-
say how much the shirts are?
Well, the $150 one was cheap because it wasn't that complicated, but there's a really complicated design that's $1,000, and then there's one that's $2,000.
Because it's more complicated, right? Yeah, her job is tables, right? Cody even knows it. But like the fun part about watching that, like I think it's surreal comedy, and I like the guy with sort of the long nose, because he reminds me of somebody. I don't know who he reminds me of. I like his weird man energy. But the funnest part about watching that is like watching my family like nearly keel over, like die laughing, because you guys think it's the funniest thing in the world. It's just like, and then they yell tables at each other all the time. It's like, it's fantastic. It's a great show. My experience of TV shows is through you guys.
Yeah. It's yeah. The third I need to rewatch the third season. It went by very quickly. I only watched that once.
I'd
was
watch
okay,
it
though.
again with you guys just to watch you guys watch it. So anyway, yeah, that guy, and that was nice of you to send him. He was like, Rick sent me a message. He was so excited. And I said, what was it? And he quoted it to me, what you'd written. So, we're all just really nice here. We're just, I don't know.
I don't know.
It just seems like too nice of a place. At least it's freezing cold out, so that's a detriment, and flat. There's no mountains around.
It wasn't that cold today.
It was in the 40s, right?
Yeah.
40 Fahrenheit.
Which right
Is
there
like-
is not freezing.
A lot colder than where I was more than 2 days ago. Okay.
Yeah, so we didn't have an episode last week in our regular bi-weekly schedule because Rose was gone. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your travels to Brazil?
I went to Brazil, a place that I've never ever wanted to go to because I was afraid. I was afraid it would be, I'd be a rude person there, and I'd mess things up.
You mean
And it
as
turns
an
out-
American?
Yeah, as an American, as a rude American, as somebody who's just extra privileged, and did I deserve to be in Brazil to see the beauty of Brazil? Did I always questioned that, and I always questioned if it would be fun or not. I always thought it would be, I always thought I didn't deserve to go there, and it turns out I didn't.
So I think you need to explain to everyone what
Oh, yeah.
what all that
Okay,
meant,
good.
because it's
Right, yeah.
a very hyper coded
I know.
Embedded
I'm gonna
rat's nest.
Okay,
of,
first of all, Cody B says my kids got me all the Hum albums on vinyl, so that was pretty awesome.
oh yeah, I saw those at the record store.
Are we getting a piece of that
Exile.
action since we put out the first two Hum records?
No,
Okay, all right, good. Well, that's I hopefully Hum's getting a piece of that action.
I mean, they
who put it out?
who put out the reissues?
Yeah.
Well, it's through Matt's label through Polyvinyl, I think.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Congratulations, Cody. Those records are fantastic. Those are beautiful records. Tim Bauer says rock and roll. It's all in capital letters. Yeah. So, all right,
Very
Brazil.
excited.
I went to Brazil. I went to Salvador da Bahia. And you don't say Bahia, you say Bahia, for a capoeira conference. And this was a conference put on by a person named Mestre Sabia. And it was a conference. So capoeira teachers, like capoeira masters, all usually die poor, die penniless, and unexalted and stuff. So this mestre put on this show, like honoring all these old mestres, and there was like a bunch of them. So people that you've only like heard about, you've heard songs about, you've seen in like old textbooks and stuff, were like standing there, like they're in, on the street that you've only seen pictures of, like there's all this video, like these same famous like 4 video clips of these old mestres playing like on this street in the Pelourinho. And like I was standing there, like on that street. Like I've seen these same videos and pictures for for 15 years while I was practicing capoeira, and then I was standing there, and then the one, like the biggest mestre, one of the first mestres, Mestre Pastinha, his academy is on in the second floor of this building. People want to talk about Hum, and I'll talk about it in a second. We can talk about Hum, but it's in the second, and it was taken away from him by the city. Like they told him he couldn't use it anymore, and they made a restaurant out of it, right? And so it's preserved. Like, and there was some kind of weird political hijinks and stuff, and I'm really bad at I need to study more the history and everything like that. But we were standing in that space too. There's like a tiny little plaque in this space, and so all these things just kind of made me like cry a little bit. Like I was kind of weeping to be in these, it to me, like one of the places that we were at kind of felt like being on the stage at CBGB's. Okay, you get on that stage, and that's where that's where Blondie and and I wrote about this in my book too, right? Blondie and the Talking Heads and whoever else stood on the stage and sweated and dripped heroin out of their needles and stuff like that on the stage, right? I think I wrote something like that in my book. And that was, I was in another place that was like that, that where all these grandmasters were, and
a place that they turned into a restaurant.
Yeah, it's not even a restaurant anymore, this place, but
CBGB's.
Oh, that's right. CBGB's was turned into a restaurant too.
And they turned it into a clothing store, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. But everywhere you walk, also around Salvador, they had samba bands, I mean, and I love that music too. I love that, and I've practiced it. Like I got to learn a little bit of it here and stuff. And then the capoeira event, and I'm saying capoeira because I feel stupid saying capoeira, but that's how I should say capoeira. The capoeira event was all panel discussions about various things, honoring the old mestres and listening to them talk. But the thing also is that the event was free, and it was in this beautiful, it was like gorgeous setting. Everything was beautiful, and everything was like highly produced too. So to see these guys like in this highly produced, beautiful lighting on them, and they're always dressed in beautiful clothing because that's what they would do anyway. They would dress up very nice to play capoeira. And it was like we were sitting in a coffee shop, like eating breakfast one day, like on the second day, and like there was a TV set in the cafe. And the TV set was playing like Good Morning Brazil, like it looked like Good Morning America, but it was Good Morning Brazil. It looked just like Good Morning America. And there on the screen came, a whole story about the event, like highly produced, like, I'm just not used to seeing this in such a high production value. And the event was free, so it was mobbed. It was a mob scene everywhere. You couldn't get seats anywhere really. And then there was a lot of different they're called palestra, I think, a lot of different panel discussions, which everything was in Portuguese, and I could understand everything, but I couldn't express how, you want to say, there's 100 different ways of saying, wow, that was really cool. There's a million different ways of saying, wow, I really like that. Mm-hmm. And all I know how to say is, I really like that, or I like that. Eu gosto, eu gostei. That means I liked it. I don't know how to say, holy fucking shit, that was amazing, or oh my God, I don't know how to say that, or holy, I don't know how to say anything except I liked it. Mm-hmm. And I know how to say I loved it. Eu adorei. But I don't know if that's I don't know if that word is the appropriate word to say. So there's only two buttons you could push. I liked it, I loved it. There's also the word legal. I know that word. That means cool. And then there's nossa, which I've heard before. But I don't know, you know what I mean? You just don't know which of the words that you can say that to express yourself. So I couldn't couldn't express myself the whole time. And what was the other thing? And then the other thing was that when the head of our lineage, Messer Jean Grangi, got to give a workshop. And when he appeared in front of people, people were like screaming for him. He was like a I don't even know how, like if Dave Grohl was there. So it wasn't even Dave Grohl. It would have been like I don't know who to, like John Lennon or something. It was like people were screaming, because this is a man who grew, who was born in Brazil and like lives now in New York, has chosen to live the rest of his life in New York, or this part of his life at least. He's 91 or 92 years old, and he teaches from New York. So people in Brazil don't get to see him. So he goes back to Brazil, and people are like, people are going crazy for him. So when he gives workshops here in America, he can be like, okay, everybody get in two lines, and we're going to do this movement going down the lines. He can say that. And there, it was like everybody get in two lines, and people were like mashing up to be at the front of the stage, like where he was. Like, not, it wasn't even on a stage, he's just on a floor. People are mashing up. People are with their phones, like shoving them in front of other people so they can get more video of him. And he's wanting people to do these movements, but people are busy videotaping, or like people are with their phones everywhere. It was like aula de celular, I was saying. It's the class of cellular phones. So he ended up, like, he could only get like pretty much 3 movements out of people, and it was just a mob scene. It was crazy. And then every night after that, there were like really good Brazilian like samba bands playing, and I guess it was fabulous. And I met these women too that were really inclusive and lovely, and yeah, it was good. But everywhere you went, there was meat. You had to eat meat. And like I was so vegetariana. And then people be like, oh, geez, great. Well, you're going to have to eat a banana. Sorry, and like eating meat is a status thing in Brazil. So somebody, and it's everything, our dollar was worth like so many reais, that like you're like steeped in your own privilege. You're like, wow, I'm so privileged. And then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to eat the meat, and I can't even imagine. It's just a problem. It's like, oh no, I don't want to eat your meat. Thank you for giving me your meat that costs you so much, but I don't even want it. And so it was all problematic by the end, I think. And you have any questions for me?
So this town, Salvador, is the origins of capoeira?
Capoeira, yeah, yeah. And so where people would there's a place where people, enslaved Africans would be beaten, like right in the center of the Pelourinho, and that's where like people congregate and take pictures of each other and stuff like that. But that's, yeah, it's like a holy place. It's like the Mecca for capoeiristas. And so when you go there, there's, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
There's, they're like, if you're going to buy like the little Eiffel Tower that you get in Paris, like there's I think you either get a baiana, like a woman, like with a, like all dressed up. You can get a like little figure of that, or you can get a figure of capoeiristas, you get a figure of a berimbau everywhere. So I had a great time. We were with, and the thing is that I was allowed to come because my teacher let me come with him. My teacher took 4 students with him, and so that was a huge privilege that we were allowed to come with him. And we got to meet his family, and we got to hang out with him, and that was a giant privilege. And then it was really scary. Like the whole time I was scared I was going to embarrass him and mess up in some way, but he's well loved among everybody, and there are other people. It's just like the rock scene, other people where you see, when you go to you go to South by Southwest or something, and then back in the 90s, and your other friends are there from other countries or other cities and stuff. It's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? And so that was really nice. And I came back with 4 beating bows, four. And I remember that there's another musical instrument in there too, in that case. I came back with those 4 things, and then I came back with something called the viola machete, which you can only get there too. It's like a little Brazilian,
it's kind of like a mandolin ukulele type thing.
With 10 chords, 10 strings, and it's not
doubled,
mine.
Right?
Yeah,
it's like a. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, it's not mine. It's a person named Seth's. So I won't touch it. I might touch it though. I might play it once. Yeah, and yeah. I don't know.
So these mestres who are old, but then the capoeira has been around for hundreds of years, or
so capoeira was conceived in Africa by the people who were enslaved and brought to Brazil. So there's always a question as to whether or not capoeira was, was it born in Brazil, or is it Brazilian or African? And so depending on who you talk to, they believe different things. But at this conference, it was conceived because it comes from the different. It comes from the different groups that were brought, all the different groups of people that were brought from Africa have different practices, different cultural practices. But when they get to Brazil and they're enslaved, and then sort of this art comes out. So it's conceived in Africa, but born in Brazil.
But then you're talking about a 90-year-old mestre. So the popularity of it or whatever is more recent.
Yeah. So Brazil was the last country to abolish slavery. And so some of these guys were born, I'm trying to remember when Mestre was born. I think it's 1933 or something like that. I could have it. Yeah, I'm not you know me, I'm really horrible with history, and this is something that I need to get better at. But these guys, these guys had, so actually when slavery became, when it became illegal, after that capoeiristas were sought after for people really rich people wanted to hire them for bodyguards, right? And mob bosses would hire them for bodyguards. And from this, after a while, capoeira became illegal. That was illegalized then. So because these capoeiristas were becoming very, very powerful, right? So that became illegal, and there's stories about when people would practice capoeira, they would practice closest to the police station, because the police would find capoeiristas and tie them to the backs of horses and drag them by their hair to the police station. So they would practice close to the police station. They would have a guy in a tree on lookout to see if police were coming. And then if police were coming, there's a certain beat that you would play on the berimbau, on the percussion instrument. There's a beat called cavalaria, which means cavalry. It's, if you heard that, you would know the police were coming, and so you should disperse. But after a while, there was a mestre called Mestre Bimba. So he was kind of the first, he was the mestre of regional, the other type of capoeira, the type that I don't do. And he he didn't want this to become a lost art. So because it was illegal. So he kind of instituted a school with all kinds of rules. And, you had to get good grades, you had to wear special clothes and stuff like that. And only then could you become part of the school. And so almost whitewashed this school, but really institutionalized it. And then people started sending their kids, rich people started sending their kids to this school. So it was regional school. And then after that, my the original Angola style school formed. So it's kind of interesting too. And so Mestre Pastinha is the one who formed the school, the Angola school, and that's the floor that I stepped on in Bahia and cried. I was crying. I was like, so that was, where I was like, it's weird to be in a place like when we were on tour and we were near Bruce Lee's grave, right? Or we were at Bruce Lee's grave.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been in like really special places before that not everybody, like, you go to the Eiffel Tower, you're like, wow, I'm under the Eiffel Tower, but everybody knows what that is, but not everybody knows, when you're like standing above where Bruce Lee died, like you're like sitting there. Remember our sound guy Jimmy said, wow, we got to spend a little time near him and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. It was really, so I cried my way through Bahia. It was a lot of sentiments or something like that. Yeah. And I think it's probably a wonderful place if you eat meat, but if you don't eat meat, you're an asshole, basically, it seems like. So, and the people I met, were just fantastic. Everybody was fantastic. And it, again, like to be able to accompany my mess today was a incredible privilege. So that's, and so mostly I was upset about, making mistakes. I was very upset about making mistakes.
I'm just looking TripAdvisor, the 10 best vegan restaurants in Salvador.
And I had a friend there who was like, another vegan friend, but he was a contra mestre, and he was like, let's go to this place. And I was like, no, we have to stay with the group. We need to stay with the group because it looked cool that we were a group, supporting our mestre and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to go back, I know my way around Bahia.
I'm just saying that, I'm just looking it up, and it does look like they have
the vegan restaurant.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, okay? Here's another thing. This was hard for me, is that it's dangerous there. It's really dangerous there. I mean, everybody says it's really, really dangerous, and you can't be like a woman walking around by yourself outside at night. And they say you can't be a man walking around by yourself at night outside either. And, the thing is, they say that about Chicago too, so it's unclear. I understand, and I would never walk around outside at night, but like it was over the top. Like you can't go you can't go anywhere by yourself, basically. And so do you remember the places that we've been, like, remember, I don't know, do you remember being in Tibet? Like people would come up to you all the time asking you for money. And Nepal, remember all those places that we've been to? Everybody comes up to you and asking, because you're a white person and you stand out. So everybody comes up asking you for money and like follows you around and stuff like that, right? And do you remember we were getting so irritated by it? Like little kids would come up to you, oh, I'm starving, please give me some money for milk, and then you'd give them money you'd give them money for milk, and then they'd go and buy the milk, and then it was all a scam, right? Remember that?
I can't remember.
Everything is just a scam. We were so like tired of, like, you couldn't talk you wanted to talk to people. You wanted to talk to people from the area. Both I remember, both in Nepal and especially in Kathmandu, I remember just wishing that you could talk to somebody, and in Lhasa, and yet, it would always come down to they would be asking you for money, like always, like India too. And there was one time we met a dude in Tibet, and he just was walking with us and talking with us, and we were like, this is great. He's not trying to sell us a chess set or anything. Like, he's just hanging out with us. And then like it feels like he was hanging out with us for like an hour and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, he like takes this bead out of his pocket. Remember? I remember the beads in Lhasa.
I don't remember that.
It's like they had these beads that they were trying to sell to, Americans or like white people. They're always trying to sell these beads. They're special Tibetan beads. And, we didn't care about them at all. So we didn't want to buy them, but other people would. And then remember you bought like a wooden...
A painting. I spent the equivalent of $8 on this little wooden painting of these monks.
Yeah.
I don't know, hanging out by a river. And then we were at a restaurant, and I had it sitting there, and the guy, like the waiter, picked it up and looked at it and went, "This is fake." And I was like, I paid $8 for that. It was, for me, it was like buying a, something at the dollar store, right?
Like fake what?
Yeah, fake what?
It's a
just
painting.
kind of like, but I guess I should have paid only $4 for it. If it was real, that was what it was worth, $8. But yeah, it's yeah.
And meanwhile, here's the ending, and I love it. I loved it. And yeah, okay. So I'll say one more thing is that I'm a white Jewish American princess from the north suburbs of Chicago, and I'm practicing and learning capoeira. It's something that came out of enslaved Africans in Brazil, and I have any business doing this practice at all? Is this cultural appropriation? And we are taught, our teacher is incredible. He makes sure like it's more, he teaches more about how to do this appropriately than he teaches the movements. He's so protective of this art, and and even makes sure that everybody knows that we're just kind of caretaking it until people from Africa want to take it back. But it's I have to examine all the time, like, am I an asshole for doing this? And the next capoeirista next to me, maybe here at ISU is like, oh, I don't need to practice I don't need to go by the rules. I just like the movements, and let's do a rota. Like they don't know any of the cultural history or anything like that. And maybe they don't know the rules. They don't know why they're doing movements and stuff like that. That's the next person right next to me, and so it's like, it's kind of fraught for me. It's like how do I make sure that I'm not culturally appropriating? My hair has a dreadlock in it right here. I did not make this dreadlock. It's here. It's like matted in the back because that's what my hair does. But I'm a white person with dreads. And I know cultural appropriation, as we can talk forever about that. But, I just want to make sure I'm not making a mistake. So, and the other thing is that everywhere you go in Bahia looks like a movie set. Everywhere. Everywhere you go is just
in what way?
In the wabi-sabi sort of way. Like there's houses everywhere up on these hills, and everything is green hills, and then there's garbage everywhere too. There's just everything. It's just picturesque, like all the houses are different colors. It felt like about 100 degrees every day, so I like that a lot too. And the people are all beautiful. Everything's beautiful. You have any other questions? Thank you for asking me about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have any?
I don't know if I have other questions.
The places that we stayed at were really nice too. Like we stayed at little Airbnb places, so I know how to go. And the first Airbnb that we were staying at had like people doing crack outside, and apparently that was a problem. So So we moved.
So you moved to more touristy area?
Yeah. So, yeah. That's all. I'm done. I ate meat. The last day we were with these two beautiful women, a mestra and the wife of another mestre who's a fantastic mestre of music, samba shula. We were with these ladies, and I just wanted to do anything I could for them. And at the end, they bought like this platter, or they ordered this platter of meat for me to honor me. So I had some of the meat, and I've been very, very sick since I've been home. Since I was leaving, on the plane, I've been very, very sick, because if you don't eat meat for a long time and then you eat meat, who knew? You get sick. So I've been really sick. And I'm, I just never want to make any mistakes. And I think at the end I challenged my mess today also. I was, you're wrong about me. I challenged him, and that's like in martial arts, you don't challenge a mess today. And I remember having a fight, the only fight that I ever had with Master Hyung. Do you remember when I had a fight with him? I was driving around Champaign-Urbana for an hour crying. I don't even remember what it was about, but at the end, like I had to apologize to him. And I was crying, and I think I called him I think I was talking to him on the phone, and he's like, just apologize. And then I said, I'm sorry, sir. And then he goes, it must have been in person. He just smiled, and he's like, okay. So,
were you wrong?
doesn't matter.
Hmm.
I'm sure, yes, I was wrong. It's more metaphorically wrong than anything else. I don't. With Master Hyung, I'm sure I was wrong. Yeah, because when somebody's a master, like the head of the household, like you, for instance, if I challenged you about something, it would be that you would be right.
And then you would apologize.
Yes. After a long time of crying. Yeah, I have to apologize. So anyway, yeah, there you have it. Anybody has any other questions about, am I going to keep doing capoeira? I don't know. My sister just started doing taekwondo again. Do you know that, Carla?
Which, really?
Yeah.
I didn't
she
know
ran into Master Kim. It was this week. She ran into him like on Tuesday or Monday, and he's like, come to class Tuesday. And she told me, I'm so excited to go. Yeah, actually, it was the day that I was staying at her house and I was leaving. She left early to go to Taekwondo.
Crazy.
And she came back, that night. She's like, I'm going back to Taekwondo. Yeah.
So no yoga for her?
She does a little bit of yoga, but she's like a pickleball star now. She's yeah. So what happened here while I was gone?
Not much. It's just, we had snow or ice
had the
storms
ice
and
storm,
cancellations. Yeah, just everyday stuff.
What did you guys eat? That's what I want to know. How did you eat? How did you decide what to eat each night? Was it easy?
Yeah, it was very easy. I made stir fry a couple times for myself, and so that always lasts me 2 days. And then what else? We made spaghetti, and we made, Junior made chicken.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of times. And then Taco Bell a couple of times. Yeah, trying to think of anything else.
Did you guys ever miss me?
Sure. I mean, the thing was, it was pretty crazy, busy.
Yeah.
It was like constant, I remember being very busy.
Because you had some Senate stuff going on.
Well, yeah, and then just having to
teach
and do, all the house stuff. And
yeah,
we did a lot of grocery shopping.
So, okay. Not to change the subject, but Friday, February 2nd is a special day for us.
It's Groundhog's Day.
That's right. What else is it?
Sorry. I am literally choking here. We went, we started going out on February 2nd, 1986. Right? 1986. Yes.
Wow, 1986. Wait, is that anyway.
Yeah, once you calculate that out there, calculo.
I'm not going to do it. I can't even see my phone anymore. So 1986, what is it, 2024? Yeah, that's a lot of years. Oh,
that's what shocked me is 2024. Realizing that it was 2024.
Calc.
Okay. Yeah, and my
minus 1986. 38 years. We've been going out for 38 years. 38 years.
It's a long time.
It's almost half our lives. It's more than half our lives.
That's true.
There was a time when there was a year when it was like, oh, we've been going out, we've been going with each other for more than half our lives.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. No.
What was I going to say? So the check writing 2024 thing, that didn't happen because you don't write checks anymore. Although I did write a check. I've written 2 checks in this new year, which is probably the last 2 checks I will write in this year. But I got that right. But then the minutes for there were some errors in the minutes for the committee. Oh, not minutes, the agenda. I had the wrong year.
You had to write a check to the academic senate.
No, but the minutes or
Yeah.
I didn't catch the error in dates on the agenda. I think also the minutes. I think it said 2023. I was so upset with myself.
So tell me about the first time you saw me.
I think it was you were sitting. Well, see, it's not cool. I guess like out your boyfriend's dorm room. I guess right.
I remember walking past your door. And I think I wrote it. I wrote it in the book.
Yeah, it's in the book.
You should write a book, not about me, but okay.
People say that, and it's like I don't think so. I don't think there's anything interesting about me. And
you're brilliant,
but it doesn't matter. It's not interesting. And then that's why I write songs. It's because it's easier.
Yeah,
shorter.
you're more of a commentary on other stuff, right?
Writing
Yeah.
I don't think there's. Yeah, I don't. I have nothing. Well, so writing a book, that's one thing. I guess writing a book about yourself, a memoir.
That's
definitely
that's
not
very, very self-centered.
not in my wheelhouse. Well, I didn't say that.
No, but I said it.
It's just not something that seems useful for me to do.
Well, I mean, you're busy writing songs all the time and stuff like that. So, what are you working on lately?
Working on coming to terms with my mediocrity and easing out of
what?
Yeah, just general.
Your mediocrity of what? Of writing songs?
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody else's brilliance? Like,
no, not as opposed to. I'm just,
Oh, so you're
looking at my,
the amount of sales
60-year-old man, embarrassing himself.
So you're comparing yourself to, like, say, the likes of Billy Corgan and not like all the rest of the 60-year-old men around here who also write songs but have never had a major label deal and don't have records out.
Well, no, I don't think either of those are valid.
Okay. You're not comparing yourself to anybody.
No.
You're just you're reflecting back on your songwriting and you're deciding that it's mediocre. You're not using any kind of litmus test or any kind of you don't have any scientific way of gauging your success other than your own brain.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about success.
Okay, not success.
Your
mediocrity versus.
It's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's not. You can't turn it into me comparing myself to other people. It's more of a general evaluation of my skills and abilities, I guess. That's where I'm at. And I get there all the time. That happens. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. So that's just the way it is. But I think I got to work on the salaryman thing. So I'm going to get back on that. So that'll be good.
But you still like to write songs, right? It's like I like to sew, and my sewing skills are shit. I could probably get better by taking some sort of a sewing class, like to learn how to sew better, but I'm not doing it. I just like to sew things together.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, I'm questioning that too. Yeah, what you're talking about is a hobby. Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
Okay, so it's not like what you do with your music.
Well, I think maybe it is, but I need to not take it so seriously. Maybe. Or yeah, I don't know. It's just more of it's just what happens, It's part of the creative process.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like when I walked into the room the other day, and one of our faculty was teaching, and like he had like a scale of the decibel scale, and he was talking about protecting your ears. he's talking about the different types of earplugs that you can, or, earphone, earplug things that you can get. And the students are like writing it down, and they're like, oh, you can, the type that you can get that you got them molded to your ears. And then there was a word called attenuate or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I have those.
You have those, I know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and it's, very, his thing was that today's class was all about, it's very important to protect your ears when you're making music. And then I was like, do you talk about your mind too? Like, is there like another day where you're going to talk about how important it is to protect your mind when you're making music?
And so there has been, I mean, I've seen that, I wind up with, a lot of the audio music production, YouTubers. And there is a trend towards people talking about mental health and physical health, like basically being that idea of being. So people think of it as a dream job, right? Like being a music producer, audio engineer, those kind of things, or a lot of people do, right? And then, but then, there was one person just talking about and showing pictures of themselves, and it's just like sitting for 18 hours a day in this dark room, working on music. And what a huge health impact that can have on you, right? I don't sit. I have a standing. That's the thing, and that's one of my problems. Is like not problems, but it's like I've got everything. I have everything. Like that audio, music kind of production world is all based around sitting. Like speaker height.
Yeah.
And like speaker stands, and
they're all
most and even like you can't get like. I haven't found a good kind of like mixing desk kind of setup that is standing and not just standing. I don't want a up down like standing sitting desk with the motor and then you push it up, and it's like I just need, and so I have, a big, standing height IKEA table that I have everything on, and then other racks, but they're all raised up, and then the speaker stands have to be raised up because it's hard to find a speaker stand that's 6 feet high or whatever I need it. Yeah, like pretty much 6 feet. It's 5.5 feet high, right? So you got to do all sorts of modifications and setups, and so it's all that kind of stuff. Anyway, health impact. But yeah,
I meant mental health.
I know, but that's part of it too. Yeah, is the mental health thing. Yeah,
like let's say you're starting out. Let's say you're one of my students, and you're going to be a music producer. One of your guys' students. You're going to ISU. You're getting an AMP degree, audio music production degree. Not a sponsor. Oh wait, a sponsor. And you're you graduate, and you're going to be a music producer. But so you're working on your songs. And your songs are not getting picked up by, your songs are not getting placed, or you're not making money playing shows. And then, are you a failure? Like what, like, and then you start like freaking out because you can't make a living with your music. And then you're a failure. And then what do you do?
I feel like that's a very specific, kind of capitalist, and so, and I guess that makes sense, right? Is how do you make a living, and how do you take care of yourself doing this? But the reality is that, and this is not specific to music, and it's being an artist or a creative person. Yeah, it's going to be difficult and stressful, but also, being poor is difficult and stressful. Being unhealthy, right, or having some sort of medical issue, right, is difficult. So, but yeah. So I would argue in a way that that's just a general problem, and it's a general problem, and that's the thing too. Is I do firmly believe that we've built a culture that's not fit for human sustenance, right? I mean, the reality that we've built, or the system we've built, is not it's not healthy, like for mental health, right? Not just and also not for physical health, right?
Cody B says Billy Corgan has excellent mental health.
Yeah, and so being a well-to-do white man, being a white millionaire. Male white millionaire, yeah, of course you're going to have better mental health, better
But you're saying even
physical health.
Yeah, even non-musicians can also be sad.
Oh yeah. But what I'm saying is that those specific things you're talking about is like, oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. The impression I get from the young people and from all of us here in higher education who are, interacting with young people is that it's really tough. And actually, the faculty and everybody, and that's the thing is like I don't necessarily feel like it's an exceptional thing to be struggling. So I'm not denying the mental health impact.
Yeah, struggling with.
But what I'm saying is that I think that's kind of what's happening across the board, with everything and everybody. And I firmly believe it is not simply that there are more people are more organically. Like there are more people who are organically susceptible to depression or anxiety.
You think the system is making people sad?
I think it's aggravating that. Yeah, and I think we've built a culture. And I know this. I mean, because what is that culture? The culture is built around, profit. It's not built around.
So you're saying communism would help everybody?
I'm not saying communism.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if you turn everything into a marketplace, right, including emotions and mental health and it's all like human value is a commodity that's tied to financial factors, right?
Yeah.
The mental health, that's yeah.
Well, so like I was just talking to an alum actually here, like, and I was like a alum of the music business program, and what do you do? Well, I was playing. It was a piano player. I was playing piano here. I had a job like I was playing consistently every day at this place. Here's another place that I was playing. And I was playing here. On the weekends and stuff. And these are all places that this person was playing. And he was like, but my main job is here I work at this Airbnb or this bed and breakfast, and I do hospitality, and that's my main job. And I was like, well, why do you call that your main job? You just mean I said, no, your main job is playing piano. And then he said that, no, my main job is the hospitality stuff, and I said, that's the job that makes you money, right? But that's not your main. Why are you calling that your main job? And he was like, oh yeah, I guess you're right, And then he said that he really enjoys the hospitality stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And so that's So the way when you start talking about like comparing yourself to other people and everything like that, that's not necessarily. Yeah, that's a very capitalist way of looking at.
I'm just gonna say
what it is. Yeah.
I need to look up what a person who I'm gonna call. I'm going to say, no, like I heard a speaker, I heard a motivational speaker this year, like over the past couple of weeks speak, and I'm going to look up how they talked about like music and art as being beauty and as being important in our lives and stuff like that, because they made me feel like just creating was important.
Yeah, and I don't deny that.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Cody B here says, agree 100%, our quote system adds a ton of extra stress. So, all right, what have you watched what were you watching while I was gone?
What did I watch? I don't feel like I watched that much. I can't remember. I did watch a bunch of stuff 1 or 2 days. I think I can't remember. I've been talking about the We Are the World documentary.
Oh, yeah, you talk a little bit about that, will you please? Yeah, because that makes you happy. And I
hate that song, and that.
We are the world.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful, benefit, that era of superstar benefit records, and when records actually made money. So you sell 1 million copies of Do They Know It's Christmas, or hundreds of millions of copies of that, or We Are the World, and it's a helps build awareness. I don't have a problem with that. It's just 80s pop music, popular music. So, but watching this documentary, it's just amazing, the logistics of it. And again, studio stuff, like getting 50 superstars together in one night in a recording studio, and how to manage the egos. And it's a lot about, Quincy Jones I've talked to multiple times because it affected me so much, is like watching Bob Dylan kind of, which to me, not that I'm not, it was just kind of like the one person in there, even like Bruce Springsteen, it's like, okay, you think maybe Bruce Springsteen would kind of be like Bob Dylan, but like watching what's going on with Bob Dylan and him struggling with all this, and them just kind of talking about how he's a different type of singer, and him struggling, like just trying to figure out how to fit into this, and then they had to clear the room, and then Bob Dylan does his line, and then Lionel Richie.
Can you imitate his line?
No, I'm not going to. I don't remember what the line is, but yeah, he just does a Bob, like the early '80s Bob Dylan, which is an interesting. It's I do dislike his modern approach to singing now. Like but the kind of '80s Bob Dylan I still find very interesting. And '90s, yeah, it's just this most recent kind of. It's a little too abstract, let's say, but well, I think he, to be honest, he it's not taking care of your voice, right? He's always been very brutal on his body, I think, his voice, right, through various chemicals and herbs. But he gives this delivery, and then he's just like, oh, that's really awful. And then Lionel Richie and Quincy Jones are like, no, that's perfect. That's exactly right. That's wonderful. And then he just like hugs Quincy Jones and says, well, you would know better than me, or something like that. It's just like Quincy Jones, he was so happy. He's smiling, and he just kind of, in a way, he's like, okay, I'm not going to listen to that voice in my head saying that sucked. I'm going to trust. If Quincy Jones tells me that my take is okay and I did it, I nailed it, I'll take his word for it. And that it was a beautiful moment, I thought. But, the more cynical thing is just also the fact that it was 6 a.m. and they're trying to get this fucking thing done, though. There's always that too, right? Where it's like, yeah, but it seemed genuine, right?
Yeah, Quincy Jones is not going to compromise. If his name is on it, he's not going to compromise. He just knows that Bob Dylan sings that way, and that it's going to be. Oh yeah. You're not going to un-Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
So, all right.
That was good. I like that. But I'm sure I watched some other things. I watched, with the kid, the younger junior. What do we call him? What is his nickname?
Dow.
Yeah, we have to have a nickname. We got
Dairy King.
We got Bag Boy, Dairy King, and then what is
Columbia Man.
But we need a nickname for the younger, but he's decided David Fincher is his favorite director.
Did you watch Fight Club with him?
No, I absolutely will not watch. Yeah, I really firmly believe that a young man should not watch that movie.
Yeah, especially him.
17 or 18.
Yeah, till after he smoked his first pot.
It's just, and even when I watched it with the elder.
They didn't like it that much.
He was 18, I think.
He was
or 17, and I said, "This is not an instruction manual on how to be a man." It's like had to be very clear that you don't fall in love with this fight. No, we watched The Game.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Which I like a lot. I like the.
Yeah.
And do you remember where we saw it originally?
In Urbana,
Princeton, New Jersey, on tour.
Oh, okay. I do remember that. Yeah.
It was projected, like watching it. I've watched it over the years, but like just watching it again this time is how dark the movie is. And that's the other thing is it's on film. So like that's the other thing is to realize the Finchery kind of look. I mean, how
dark.
Well, yeah, but also how many of his films are digital. And then going back and seeing what his aesthetic was kind of like on film well, also the cinematographer, but it's definitely a very much it's a dark film, and it's definitely got that kind of like Gordon Willis like I can't remember what documentary. Maybe it's a documentary about The Godfather. Maybe it's a documentary about cinematography where Gordon Willis, talks about some of the films, and I think it's The Godfather. There's where it's like, oh yeah, I think I made that too dark. Like even he was pushing things like the contrast and the darks and people would in the 70s, and then there's some interview where he's like, yeah, I think even for me, I went too far. I think it's in The Godfather. He's like, there's a scene where he's just like, this is
7.
ridiculous.
Oh, Cody's writing Alien 3 and 7.
And then the junior said, has David Fincher ever done a science fiction movie? And I was like, that's good. And then I was like, oh yeah, Alien 3. That's probably why. You haven't seen another. I'm trying to, and I might be just blanking out, but it's like, oh, okay, that's why there's not another
Alien.
No, David Fincher.
David Fincher Alien movie. Yeah.
Space
Wait,
movie.
wait. So what did Junior think of the ending of the game?
He liked it. I think he liked it. He also likes The Killer, though, which is that new movie, which I found a little boring, but.
Oh, that's so. Was he surprised at the end?
I think so.
Like, oh man?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
I can't believe you got him to watch that. Was he scared at all? There's scary parts.
It is a little scary.
Yeah.
But not the same
movie.
kind of scary as not Banana Split's floor scary parts.
The Alice, Go Ask Alice.
Yeah.
Big, where they black painted his house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that really scary.
Well, it is scary,
part,
but yeah, and
the fact that they've driven him to suicide, at the end.
Yeah. It's
spoiler alert.
Well, also using that song.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like that. That's the first time I remember. So that song now is all over the place.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like somebody's doing drugs. Play the Go Ask Alice song. What song is that? What was it by?
It's got a long history actually. Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah.
But it's actually a Great Society song. So Grace Slick was in another band in San Francisco, and basically when the original singer or female singer of Jefferson Airplane quit, they snagged Grace Slick from the other big San Francisco band, the Great Society, and she brought White Rabbit and Someone to Love from that band. So there are.
So White Rabbit, that's the name of the song, right?
And it's fascinating because
Cody.
it's kind of like, oh wow, like the two best songs of that band are the songs that she wrote, I think, with her husband, right, or with the band that she was in previously. It's like, and then it's like there are good Jefferson Airplane songs, I guess. Yeah, there are some good ones after that, but it's kind of like, oh, the actual really good Jefferson Airplane kind of classic songs are not even really Jefferson Airplane songs; they're covers.
Okay, I had to look up what movies. Song White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane appears in many movies and TV shows, including...
Too many to list on Wikipedia.
Platoon. No, I got the AI.
Oh, is it in Platoon?
Platoon,
okay.
It says, but this is an AI, right? The Matrix Resurrections, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Alice Through the Looking Glass, The Game, and Go Ask Alice. There's got to be more. Oh, movies and TV shows. Drugs in Our Culture, Coming Home, Cool Cats... 1983, Wild Thing, 1987, Third Rock from the Sun.
Wild. Oh, not Wild. Not Something Wild. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Miami Vice, Purple Haze. I think there's more than that. I feel like there's more than that. I feel like anytime somebody wants to be doing drugs, you got that song.
The whole needle drop kind of loud classic rock thing. Yeah, so that was also, what was it? Manhunter, right? The Michael Mann... what's it called? Hannibal Lecter movie has Inagata-Davida in it. That was like it was more.
Yeah, that's right.
More intense back then when those things happened.
It was in episode 8, Jezebels of The Handmaid's Tale. That's where I saw it last. I was like, oh, drugs. That was perfect in there too. It was just totally. Yeah, it was perfectly placed.
I feel like it's lost all meaning, or not meaning, but it's like What's the other song that the people are complaining about? Oh yeah, Under Pressure, right? So it's like, oh, we don't have to do any narrative work. We'll just license Under Pressure.
What?
Which
part of that Under Pressure?
Just the song, right? It's like,
I
oh,
forgot
ding,
it
ding,
goes
ding, 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 ding.
What does that
ding.
tell you when you hear that?
That people are under pressure.
Oh, really? All right, Cody's saying Manhunter, and he thinks me saying spoiler alert after I say the spoiler is really funny. I got 3 crying laughters there. You know what? You say it that because it's after it. If it's past 10 years after the movie came out, then you can say what happened, and then you can say spoiler alert. There's like a inverse proportion amount of time that you can say that where those two overlap. Okay.
And the other thing is like you can I was able to. I think the game was allowed to be watched because it had the guy from Ant-Man in it.
Oh,
so that's kind of neat.
Which
like
Michael Douglas. Oh man,
is a Marvel
Okay,
character.
We got.
So it's like you can kind of trick kids now into watching these old movies if these old people
have been in a new movie.
Yeah,
it's good. Larry's here. Larry Pies. White Rabbit is the song title. Thank you. Such a trippy song. Under Pressure was used in the episode of The Boys. The Boys. Okay. Well,
all right.
We're 7 minutes past the hour.
That's right. Okay.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for running this show, Rick.
Pushing the buttons.
Yeah,